Hillary from the Nina, and I'm here with another art challenge video. So today what I'm going to be showing you is how to do this. We're going to be doing some basically tie-dye but with Sharpies and also hand sanitizer, which I think is funny because I mean everybody has this, or you should have this. You need this. And the one I'm using today is the Nina hand sanitizer, which makes it look like I'm doing some product placement. But this actually works super well, and I'll explain that later on in the video here. The Nina hand sanitizer is the best hand sanitizer for this art project. So this piece that I have in front of me here was made by Antonio, who comes to the Nina, and he did this, and I just think it's so pretty. One thing that we did was he used this beautiful sort of shiny satin fabric. Now, if you're at home, you can do this with any kind of fabric that you want. We've done it on t-shirts before. If you have a white t-shirt, that would look really cool, or any light colored t-shirt, but white is the best probably because the colors will show up the best. So it's a really cool thing because you can wash it and wear it all the time like a regular t-shirt, and I'll talk about that sort of closer to the end of things. Then you're going to need, so whatever kind of white fabric you want. If you want some shiny fabric and you're a Nina artist, you can send us an email or give us a phone call and we'll bring you some. But otherwise, I've got some white fabric here. I'm going to use some similar shiny fabric, and then colored Sharpies, and then really whatever hand sanitizer you have at home. Or you can use rubbing alcohol. That stuff really stinks, but it works great. So I'm going to use this hand sanitizer, and I like it because it's kind of liquidy. If you do have the gel kind, it'll still work, but you might have to kind of like moosh it around a bit. And then the last thing I have that's really useful and probably necessary, especially if you're using a shirt or something, is some kind of plastic something. So this is just a plastic bag, and I have a piece of cardboard inside here. And the reason I need this is because when we actually start putting the colors on here, I don't want the design to bleed through to the back. So I'm putting the shirt kind of over top of this, and then I can draw my design on here like this. And just think about like the shirt, the cardboard is wearing the shirt, so that there's something separating the front and the back. And then that way you will only get the design on one side, unless you want it on both sides, in which case just ignore that, I guess. But also, this is going to be kind of like messy, so you want some kind of a plastic surface to do this on. Even if you're not doing a shirt, it's good just to have it so that you don't get the ink all over your table, because it will bleed through the fabric, and then whatever is underneath is going to get dyed forever with Sharpie. So I'm going to dump out my markers, and what I'm going to do first is I'm going to make some kind of design, play around with some different ideas. One thing I would stay away from in this is doing like a representational drawing, because you're going to be pouring alcohol all over it and it's going to kind of explode. So I would try to do something abstract, but if you do decide to draw, you know, some reindeer or whatever, they're just going to be like cool blobby blendy reindeer, so you know, just watch out for that. I'm just going to play around with do some doodling on here, maybe make some spots, I don't know. I'm just, you know, do whatever, doodling. Maybe I want to do some different colors. And I'm thinking about kind of what colors would look good if they mashed up together. But you don't really have to think about that because it's probably going to look cool regardless. So I won't worry too much about the specifics of color mixing, but that is something to think about, I suppose. All right, so I'm finished my design. And I'm going to put the alcohol on it, the hand sanitizer, which again is basically rubbing alcohol. So again, I like this stuff that we're using, the Nina stuff, because it just happens to be kind of liquidy. It pours on really well, but if you have a spray one, that works really well too. So I'm just kind of dropping it on, and it kind of spreads out a little bit. So I'm just going to let this sit for a second so you can kind of see what's happening here. You can see that it's sort of spreading out across the fabric and kind of leaking into the different fibers, and as it does that, the Sharpie that is on here is sort of slowly like bleeding out into the areas that I've poured the alcohol. And this is going to continue slowly changing as I let it rest more. I'm going to put a little bit more on. I don't think I want to cover the whole thing because I kind of like having some of the crisp lines as well. But, you know, just a little bit more is kind of nice. So that's probably good. So we can kind of watch it and we can see how the colors are kind of spreading out, and in some places they're blending together, like this area is really pretty here. And if you lift it up, you'll see that it kind of slowly pours downwards, like gravity will pull the colors down. So you can play around with that. Now, this is going to take a little while to dry. And if you were doing a shirt, you want to let it dry completely so that it doesn't have any kind of odor. Overnight is good. If you've done a really big shirt, it's probably going to smell like pretty intense. So I would just like hang it in your basement or outside or whatever to let it dry so that it's not, you know, burning your eyes all day. But if you're doing a t-shirt, then you're going to want to, after it's dry, you put it in the dryer on hot for 15 minutes. And then after that, it's ready to go. And this piece here, I'm probably not going to ever really be washing because I'm not planning on wearing this because it's just a square. But I still would want to let it dry completely before I did anything else with it. Like if I was going to sew it into a cushion or, you know, hem the edges or whatever I was going to do with it. So yeah, I'm just going to kind of let it dry. The more alcohol you add, the more it's going to kind of spread. But yeah, I think this looks pretty good. And hopefully that you guys can try this. It's a really cool thing. I really like how it turns out. And again, I think it's really fun to use hand sanitizer. It just is fun. I don't know, I think it's cheeky. So yeah, send us your pictures of anything you try out with this. Or if you are a Nana artist, show up wearing your shirt. If you make a shirt, I would really love to see it. So we'll see you again soon, and we'll be back with another art challenge later. Thanks everybody, bye.